he showed me the pictures and I was like, oh, this looked like a high-rise type of apartment. But when I got there, I was like, something smells funny. When I got in the apartment, I was like, this is something not right. It just smells like, I don't know, but like an insects, you know? So if you know, like, I've been in a clean house. I love the smell of a clean house. We can all smell know what that smells like. But when you're in an apartment where you know, like, something smells funny, there's something going on. So, hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Lala. I started documenting my experience in Africa about a couple months ago. Actually, I started documenting my experience since January of 2022. So everybody has been asking me like what's going on, and I'm so thankful for those who've been checking on me and being positive, just asking me if everything is okay. I really truly appreciate that, because it just shows me that you guys value my content and you value who I am. So thank you, and I am okay. If you guys see the title, you realize I've left Tanzania. Unfortunately, you guys, I am gone. So if you guys want any more Tanzanian content, you probably won't see it on my channel for a while. But I left, and I wanted to tell you guys and share with you the honest reasons on why I left Tanzania and why I'm not going back. So yeah, let's get into the video. So the first thing that I didn't like is the immigration process. When I went to Tanzania, I already imprinted it in my brain that you're allowed to, from the research that I've done, that you're allowed to have 3 months there and then get extensions, which is a 30-day extension. It's supposed to be 2 30-day extensions for free. But once I got to the immigration, they had us wait there for 5 hours after telling us they could give us that time period, and we only got 2 weeks. After waiting 5 hours, we got a 2-week extension. So I had to maneuver myself from there, and it was just not pretty for me. I left the immigration office like literally in tears, because I was just like, it's just this, I pick up on vibrations and energy, and it just like the immigration people just felt like they don't want me here, you know, for whatever reason, whatever judgment they had of me. I don't think they want us as expats there, you know, and that's just the honest truth, you guys. Like, they were laughing at me while I was crying. Like, it was just not fun. And maybe it was just the immigration officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, okay, yeah. So I left in tears because, you know, I had been there for about a month, and at first, you know, it felt like Tanzania was going to be good for me, but after that was like one of the first negative experiences for me there. But yeah, I thought I could, you know, stay there a little bit longer just to feel it out. Now let me tell you guys, I never ever had the I had no expectations with coming to Africa. Like I told you guys, I had planned to move to Ghana. They changed their rules. I don't like how their president moves, so I decided to come over to go to Tanzania. And oh my goodness, low battery. So, you know, as of going there, I dealt with so many. That was the first negative experience, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know where to go from here. And last minute, I had an opportunity to go ahead and extend it even further. But, you know, y'all know I was there for like 6 months. I left the day that my visa was supposed to expire, the day of my visa expiring, I left Tanzania. And so, yeah, the immigration, like, to have to leave every 3 months. I knew this before going to Tanzania because it's everywhere, it's listed everywhere, but what I didn't take into was the expense that it would be to travel from country to country. I thought maybe it would be a little bit cheaper, but clearly it wasn't. And you have options to leave the country by bus or plane when your visa expires. So I mean, there are affordable options, but it's not even about the affordability, it's about the exhaustion of moving around, trying to figure out if this place is it for you, and then within that time period, you gotta deal with the visa things as well. Like, it's a lot. So, I was just like, yeah, I can't do this long term. I can't do it long term because I'm drained already within 6 months. So, it's ways to do things under the table. People are aware of this, but I don't want to lie. I don't want my conscience. I don't want those, my conscience. I'm traveling with my baby girl. I can't be doing things under the table that's illegal and traveling with a toddler. Like, I just cannot. I'm all she has. So, yeah. The immigration, you guys, is terrible. What else? Yeah, so immigration, number one. Number two is the culture. I just couldn't vibe with the culture. I felt judged 50% of the time, and I just couldn't be myself. And that's just the bottom line. Like, whatever they believe in and whatever they thought of me is not even the problem. The problem is I could just never be myself. I work out a lot. I wear a lot of compression outfits. I wear, things that to a very, very modest person, you just, even at my most modest, you just like gonna, give me these looks if you're a judgmental type of person. So I felt judged half of the time, and I didn't like that. And, there was this one experience. I was staying with this guy and some guy roommates, and they were younger, like 22. And they were in college, and I'm 34 years old, for those who don't know. And I was cleaning my laundry, and I had on my workout shorts, and I had on my workout shorts or compression shorts, but they basically hit my knee. But I had on a big t-shirt. It doesn't matter. I'm in my house. I'm paying here. I'm paying to live here. And this little boy comes. I'm sorry to call him a little boy, but they were like college kids, a decade or more younger than me. So this little guy comes to me and says, "Hey, can you put something more modest on, because I got a girl coming over here." And I'm thinking, like, who is this girl he has coming over here? Is she Mother Mary? Because I want to know, like, why are you asking me as your elder to put on something modest, and I'm in my house, So this girl comes over. I didn't change because no, it's not my choice. So she walked in. She didn't see me. I saw her. She had on her hijab and Muslim attire, and then I would still continue cleaning. An hour later, she comes out wearing his clothes, his t-shirt and his shorts. Now, I'm not a virgin, okay? So all I can assume in this situation is they just had sex. But yet you were just asking me to put on my clothes, to respect this girl who's not even respecting the beliefs of Allah. Like, if I'm not mistaken, in Christianity, Muslim, none of that. You're not supposed to be having premarital sex. Now, I'm not holier than thou. You know what I mean? I've tried celibacy. I've tried to keep my virginity when I was younger, but I try to be good with God. I know I'm not perfect, so I'm not judging her. Like, if that's what y'all choose to do, fine. But just don't come to me and ask me to respect a belief that you don't even respect. So this is not everybody in Tanzania. It was just those people, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not cool with this. So that was just an example of a situation that I went through while I was there, and why I don't vibe with the culture. I just don't. I just never fit in, and I've been me all my life. This is me, and I'm always changing and growing. But who I am at the core, I can't change. So if I can't vibe with the culture and I feel judged by the culture half the time, it's just not gonna work long term for me. So that's one of the bigger reasons why I left too. And number three, the other reason why I left is most of the expats were couples or males. So I met a guy, he was there from Europe. He had a business in Europe, but he lived in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, come to find out, like, he was like bragging about how, you know, he can get certain favors from the girl in the community for little to nothing. And I don't mean sexual favors, but he was just bragging. And that's what he kind of like hinted at, but I didn't want to assume. But, you know, like, I think guys sometimes come to exploit the white and black guys come there to exploit the community if, you know, they know like they can get a lot for little to nothing, you know, from whether it's company, sex, whatever, like they know this. So they go there to sometimes exploit. So being that I met some cool expats that were males too, but a lot of them had relationships, you know. So the couples that I met, like the girls that I met in a couple, like we just never vibed, we never clicked, because people usually like to hang out with people who have lifestyles that are similar to theirs, you know. So being that I'm single and these people are married, like we don't have anything to talk about and vibe about and, you know, discuss, like besides Pan-Africanism or, you know, any other interest that I have. But the main thing is their lifestyle is different, completely different from mine. So that right there was like a big, I don't fit, you know. So these things happen, like, yeah. So I had the big thing was I had a lack of connection with the diaspora and the locals, because it's just like a double-edged sword. So you kind of left feeling lonely, you know. I am a loner at heart. Like I've always spent 90% of the time alone, you know. But I want to connect with like-minded people, and I also want to connect with the African culture and the African people. But because there was that language barrier, I couldn't connect with any of the Tanzanian people, and I'm sure that stopped me from meeting a bunch of good people. But I couldn't connect. So this was like a thing for me that I was just like, dang, you know, like it sucks. This is a bummer. And I guess when you're like really liking a place, it inspires you to learn the language and you know, things like that. And we learned a few words and phrases, but I was just never motivated to learn any more than I did. So yeah, and I couldn't connect, like I said, I couldn't connect with the locals, the diaspora, because most of them were, oh my God, most of them, yeah. So if you can't connect with the community, it makes things not hard for you, but very lonely. Yeah, so that was a big reason for me leaving. It didn't feel like home to me, you guys. I didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel like I was Tanzanian. And when I got there for like a month, I liked it a little bit. You know, I kind of like ignored the negative things and just said, okay, well, maybe this is it. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to commit to a place because, you know, you invested this much into it, you invested time, it took a lot of effort coming to Africa, but I was just like, I just don't see myself happy here. I'm not happy. So I didn't know, like, in my mind, I'm like, once I didn't feel welcome, I'm like, when can I escape? You know, because if you don't feel connected with the people, it's just like, what in the world am I doing here? Like, I'm just sitting around, you know, taping my videos, trying to do these interviews, but I feel lonely. Like, I don't really, you know, I vibe with a few Tanzanian people, the ones who spoke English, and I didn't vibe with any diasporans, actually, not for long. So, you know, that's just what it is. But, yeah, I wanted to connect with more people, especially the locals, but I couldn't connect, and I never felt inspired to try to learn the language to connect. So that's one of the reasons that I left. I just didn't feel at home. You know, the weather is just too hot for me. Like, you know, as you see, I like to look cute, and I can deal with the sun because I'm from Jamaica, but I have grown to like more of a neutral weather, like LA, you know, that type of weather I love. So, you know, it's just like a lot of things that just didn't make me, it didn't feel like home to me, you know. Another thing that made me leave was most people move in survival, or they have like a lack mentality. Most people, not all, but most moved in survival, you know. And I know it's a developing country, but I didn't quite expect, you know, to be like price gouged the way that I did. Now, I've seen videos before I moved to Tanzania, but honestly, I didn't do a lot of research as I did. I didn't do the same type of research that I did on Ghana for Tanzania, because it was a last minute move, but I did see videos mentioning like price gouging and stuff. But I don't think they really like went into detail about how extreme it is. Now, I'm well traveled, you know, so I know like how people move. I know most people will overcharge, and you know, if they see that you are a foreigner, but it shouldn't be a situation where I have to defend myself at all times because I keep getting tried, you know. Like, I went to one chicken place, and I think I talked about this in a previous video, but they charged me $10K. All the chicken places charge the same amount, so you get familiar with the prices. But for me to go to a place one day that has set prices, there's no bargaining at a chicken shack, you know, at a chicken shop. The price is the price, the price is the price everywhere. But I do expect you to overcharge me if I'm bargaining for an item. I get that. So, but when I go to a place that has set prices one day and you charge me $10K, and then the next day you try to charge me $14K, like a different person, it's like, come on, this is stupid. It's hustling backwards. You know, so that type of stuff, like, oh, I get it by any means, just moving on survival. And I know people think like when we're struggling or when things are developing, this is the way to move, but it's really not the way to move. The way to move is to move abundantly, charge people, be honest with people, do things honestly, and you get that back. But it's hard to tell people that when they are in poverty, but I have been to other areas where there was poverty and they didn't move as badly as they did in Tanzania as far as survival. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, it was bad. So yeah, it's just a lot of dishonesty. You know, when you going somewhere and then they upcharge you the next day, like, that's crazy to me. So I had to leave because that right there, it was putting me in my masculine energy. Now, when I say masculine energy, people think, oh, she being manly. No, masculine energy and manly behavior is completely different. What I mean is feminine energy is flowing, it's free flowing, it's receiving, it's about receiving. Masculine energy is about giving, feminine energy is about, just laying low, just going with the flow, surrendering to the universe, letting the universe guide you. But when I was in Tanzania, I was forced to defend myself, to confront people, and it doesn't have to be like in a disrespectful manner, but I was forced to confront people, and I don't like this. I don't like this. Even if I have to say, just give me my money back, I don't want to go through that. Like, I just want to be, and I understand like bargaining higher to a foreigner, but when a set price is a set price, it's hustling backwards for you to keep trying to overcharge people and take what you can in the moment, instead of offering good customer service and being an honest person and then getting more business because of that. That's what's gonna set you apart when everybody's selling chicken and cuckoo and chips. But it's like, I felt like I was handled that way a lot. Like, people would rather take what they can take from you in the moment than to, just be a good person and just know that and trust in the universe that you're gonna get back what you give out. It wasn't like that. No, they moved like a lot of people were moving like scavengers, and I'm sorry to say it. It's not everybody, because when I would go to the villages, people were honest. They charged me the actual price, and that shouldn't be a surprise to me, but it was. I was like, whoa. If I was ever to live here, I would live like in a village area, because they do charge us the right amount. So not everybody's bad, but a lot of people were moving like scavengers. And I'm just being honest, so yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like being in that environment, especially being a single woman. So I mentioned couples. There's a lot of couples there. So for women that move there, they don't have to deal with this if they have a man there, if they have a husband. The husband has to deal with it, and a man doesn't care, to have a few confrontations here and there, But as a woman, it wasn't ideal for me. I'm sorry. Like, my spirit was being like tarnished in a way, like, because I had to be on defense. Like, no, you're not gonna, and it's not like that, but it's just like, you're not, I have to speak up for myself in this type of environment. So it was really draining after a while, just to even just go to just to run a simple errand, and you already know you're gonna be overcharged to the max too. Like, I couldn't take it. Now, people who want to move here, when I say certain things, they don't want to hear, oh, you're negative. No, I'm honest, and I can only give my honest experience. There's people who it's a positive experience for them because they have different needs than I do. But the negative that I'm pointing out, people will see that as a positive, some people, but not me. Or people like me. So I'm not gonna lead people astray, because I didn't see all this information when I was looking up information on where to go, how to navigate. So I'm just putting the gems out there, and you could take it or leave it, Don't send me death threats, kill threats in my comments, even though I know people are still gonna do it. Like, I get threatened to be killed because I'm putting the truth out there. Like, this is crazy. And I put out so much positive things about Tanzania. I went through the community, interviewing people, allowing them to tell, part of themselves. And this is like, I get death threats. I'm gonna kill you. You better watch your back for putting the truth out there. This is crazy. But, yeah. Like, I can only be honest, y'all, so that's just the truth. I felt on defense all the time. As a woman, having to go into an environment every day where I know I'm going to be overcharged for every simple little thing, it's annoying. yeah, so that goes into the dishonesty that I dealt with. You know, just people lying in my face. Like, I just don't like those type of people. And I dealt with that a lot in Tanzania. And I just, like I said, just felt like on defense. And then when, say I have an issue with Airbnb or something, like, it was always a lack of accountability. Even when I put out these posts, like, some Tanzanians own up to the mistakes that, you know, the politics makes, like the politicians make, or you know, that the community makes. But a lot of people lack accountability. They don't want to say, oh yeah, this is true, all the negative things she's saying is true. Only a few people have said that. And then it's just a lack of accountability for self and the mistakes that they make. Like, I stayed at an Airbnb, and all my stuff got spoiled, and something was wrong with the lady's refrigerator, and I had meat, cheese, milk, all this stuff that could be spoiled. And the lady, I asked her, I said, ma'am, what can you do about this? And she was like, I didn't know it was gonna, you know, like, this type of behavior, that's moving on survival. Like, you know, if you would have just handled it a different way, like give me a refund for my food or offer me a credit on it, you know, like, when people moving in survival, they're not thinking like this. They're thinking, I'm gonna deny all accountability so I don't have to, you know, pay the price, and this is gonna be good for me. And it's not. You just lost a customer who could promote you to so many people, because I am gonna do a video on the best Airbnbs in Tanzania that I stayed at, and the worst. So, like I said, y'all, and this is not to expose people, it's just to lead people in the right direction, you know. But that lack of accountability for me was just like disgusting, the type of people that I had to deal with. I stayed in a hotel, not a hotel, but an apartment. Y'all, I don't even want to get into this. It was disgusting. Like, and I was on my last at the time. Like, you know, I had just got my teacher's check, and it wasn't big. It wasn't one of my biggest checks. And, you know, this was towards the end of my stay in Tanzania. And this was like, this situation made me say good riddance to the country overall. Like, good riddance. And it wasn't because of all the people. Like, I had positive experiences, but the experience that I experienced leaving Tanzania, I was like, oh no, never again. You know, I'm gonna have to watch my back if I ever come back here and really be on my P's and Q's. But I stayed at a hotel. I stayed at an Airbnb, and I asked the guy at the Airbnb, I said, hey, do you have anybody that can accept cash, because that's all I have, and I need them to be able to take the pay later for the rest of my stay. So he was like, yeah, so Airbnbs, you can't do this. So I had no opportunity to like look at a review, see what type of house I would be staying in. But he showed me the pictures, and I was like, oh, this looked like a high-rise type of apartment. But when I got there, I was like, something smells funny. When I got in the apartment, I was like, it's just something not right. It just smells like, I don't know, but like an insects, you know? So like, if you know, like, I've been in a clean house. I love the smell of a clean house. We can all smell know what that smells like. But when you're in an apartment where you know, like, something smells funny, there's something going on. So the guy got there, I paid him ahead of time. I questioned him about it because I actually seen a few little roaches, and it was baby roaches. And I should have never paid him. I don't know why, but it was kind of like, I'm tired. Like, this was like, I had stayed at 17 Airbnbs, I believe, while I was in Tanzania. So me being at the end of the row, I was like, it's a few roaches, whatever, you know? So, but little did I know it was a freaking infestation. And I gave him the last of my cash, so I wasn't in a position where I could just get up and leave. So I noticed it at night, because you know roaches come out at night. I text the guy, I told him, no, I called him, I'm blowing him up. He's not answering. He already knows what's up. And honestly, I should have read the energy in the room when the last guy that stayed there came in there to grab something he had left. He gave me that look like, like, do you know what's in here? Like, he gave me that type of look. And I was like, why is he looking at me? So I should have asked him, like, how was your stay? Did you like it? Anyways, he left. He gave me that look, like, and I paid it. I don't know why. I'm learning to trust my intuition now. Nighttime, about 10 o'clock, a whole bunch of roaches came out. And Corey was asleep on the bed. I called this guy, I'm like, yo, it's roaches here. I need a refund, like, before we even spend the night, and he was like, he didn't respond. I was like, I know he's getting my calls and my messages. Anyways, we go on to I'm looking around the room. I'm like, it's roaches everywhere, in the bathroom, in the kitchen, everywhere, on the floor. So I didn't go to sleep at all. I stayed up, shined my computer light in that direction so they will be repelled from that area. And I talked to the guy later and I asked him, I said, the next day, I said, listen, I need a refund. I need y'all to refund me. He was like, we got a different place for you to go to. It's much nicer, no roaches. I did go to another place. There was no roaches, but the next day that I stayed there was no Wi-Fi. The second place they took me to, there was no Wi-Fi. So I'm like, how am I supposed to work with no Wi-Fi? I told you that was my number one need and preference. So he was like, oh, we're gonna fix it. Never fixed it for the whole day. So come to find out, they were co-hosting through another lady this property, the second property, which was much nicer, by the way. But because they didn't have Wi-Fi, they didn't have, I didn't pay them for that second day. And I think the first day I had to kind of like bulldoze through their manipulation because they knew like there was roaches in that place. There's no way you don't know it's an infestation in your apartment. I'm sure I'm not the first one to speak up, but they were telling me you can't get a refund. You stayed there tonight. I said, I called him last night. I blew him up. He never answered. And I texted him. It was early in the night. So stop. And it's just like one of those survival moves. Like, listen, we got to get it by any means. And it's just like, when you move like that, it's not going to be good for you in the long run. So if the whole community as a whole is moving like this, I don't see a good future for Tanzania if half of the population is acting like this, So, yeah, I was just like, wow. So I had to like, kind of like, man up on them. Like, and I was just like, listen, you didn't have Wi-Fi at the second spot. You had a roach infestation. How about this? I'm not gonna pay you for 2 days. And I'm not gonna pay your co-host. So you take that up with her because I told you I needed Wi-Fi and I'm damn sure not paying to stay with roaches. So I'm not paying for that day. And I told them like I will leave out of here without paying because you're not gonna do me like this. You're not gonna just take my money and you're not deserving of it. No. The number one thing I need is a clean apartment with Wi-Fi. Yeah, so they didn't offer that, so I didn't pay for those 2 days, and they were just like, oh, it was like, figure it out because you're not gonna bully me, and pull this survival tactic on me. So that was it. Yeah, but that's the type of situations I don't like to be in. I don't like confrontation. I don't like drama. I really don't. So that was one of the number one reasons that I left. The last reason why I left Tanzania is it's too expensive for a nomadic lifestyle. When I moved to Tanzania, I had no expectations on me staying there for a certain amount of time. I didn't know whether I was going to settle there because I have never visited Tanzania before going there. So I didn't want to commit to an apartment, and maybe it would have been cheaper for me to get an apartment off rent, but I think I would have gotten comfortable and stayed, and then I would feel trapped like a lot of the expats feel. I feel like a lot of people feel trapped in Tanzania because they made that their first move and they have invested a lot of money into it, and once you've invested time and money, it's kind of hard to get up and move. So that wasn't my plan. So I spent money on Airbnbs, and it was hectic, but I'm glad I didn't make the commitment to stay there and invest all my money into actually living there. So yeah, I'm glad because I wasn't happy there, y'all. It's just not for me. It is for a lot of different types of people, but it's not for me. I've highlighted the good about Tanzania, but this is just why I left and my personal reasons. An Airbnb there costs like $25 a night for something decent with Wi-Fi, and it seems cheap when you're coming from the West, but after you stayed there for a little while, that's a lot of money. And I just didn't want to put down a place for 3 months. I didn't want to stay there for longer than the 3 months I stayed. That was never my plan, but last minute I had to figure out my visa situation. So I ended up, staying 3 months later because I didn't know where else I was gonna go. But it's just not for me, guys. I wasn't happy there. I didn't feel at home there. Since then, I have been to 2 African countries, and right now, I am settled in a country that I love. I love it. It feels like home. It's the complete opposite of my experience in Tanzania. So if you guys want to see more about my experience, stay tuned. You guys will see more of me. If you can't tell, in my spirit, I'm way happier than I was in Tanzania. It's just not for me, but it is for somebody. Check out my older videos if you want to see my full experience on Tanzania. But for now, you guys, my journey has moved along, and I plan to journey through all of Africa. You guys, please stay tuned, and thank you for staying on my journey with me and motivating me and checking on me and valuing my content. If you guys want to see more, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. So, bye. One love.